let's create a 3D plot using Matplotlib in Python. Welcome again to the Data Science Bytes channel, Data Science Explained Simple. On today's video, we're going to create or generate some datasets and then try to plot that dataset into a 3D plot using Matplotlib. So let's get to it. So first off, importing NumPy and of course Matplotlib here, and then we will generate kind of a data set. We'll call it data, and we can use numpy.array. And here what we want to do, let's assume that we have some data with 3 features. So that will be maybe just from random numbers, mp.random.rand integers between 1 and maybe 300, and I want like 100 of them. That is like for the first feature. I can do the same for the second feature and the third feature. Maybe the second feature I will make it up to 500 and the third feature up to 200, things like that. And yeah, so let's look at this and see the shape of this data set. If you look at the shape of data, so data.shape, we will see that the shape is 3 rows, 100 columns, and usually this is not really how we think of our data sets. So what we're going to do, we're going to transpose it just to have like in terms of rows, like 100 rows and 3 columns. Every column is a feature. Now let's have some labels. Let's just call them classes, because we want to color our 3D plots based on maybe 2 classes, and we are going to generate a NumPy array as well. But instead of having like all these kind of random numbers, we want to generate just 2 random numbers, well, from 0 to 1, either 0 or 1, like class 1 or class 0, and of course 100 of them. So we run this to make sure that the shape is 100, so we have 100 classes as well. Alright, now, so we have our data. The next step is to plot our 3D plot. And to do that, we want to define a figure from Matplotlib. That is a Matplotlib figure. And in the same time, let's just kind of override the size into 10 by 6, and we will also define an axis on that figure in Matplotlib axis, that is with a projection. The only reason we're trying to do this is to be able to access the projection parameter here, because we want to override it to 3D. And if I run this, all we will see is just an empty space, an empty 3D space, because we haven't really yet added our data. And as you can see here, this is going to be somehow kind of a scatter plot. So let's define a scatter plot. Let's just call it scatter for now. That is going to be our axis that we've just defined, and of course a scatter plot. And that scatter plot has to have the data. So the data, all the rows, and the first column, and then all the rows and the second column, and oops, all the rows on the third one, and of course the third column. So this is like saying, well, I want the first column, the first feature on axis X, the second feature on axis Y, and the third feature on axis Z. And if I run this, what I'll get here is all the data points that I have defined earlier on here on the 3D axis. But if you recall, we also have defined our classes array here, and this will serve as our color. So C stands for color, classes, and if we do this, there we go. So we have the yellow and purple. Each one of these is actually one of our class. And because, of course, the data is just random, there is no real meaning of what we see here. But if we do it with some practical data, we should be able to see some patterns in our 3D plot here. And of course, you can even go further and maybe set a title, and you can call it whatever. My first 3D plot, things like that. You can also work on the x-axis, y-axis, and z-axis, and you can define some titles or names for these axes and some other things as well. So it was really very simple. We just created some data here and just 4 lines, and now we have a 3D plot using Matplotlib. I hope you liked this video. Please stay tuned for the next one.